Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for another episode of the International Watch. As you might know, it was a week of World Cup qualifying games for the World Cup in Russia next summer. And what I'm going to do is run you through how all of our players out in international duty did this week basically. So starting off with Belgium, Eden Hazard, yes, quite surprisingly, Michy Batshuayi and Thibaut Courtois were obviously called up. Belgium in their first game faced Gibraltar, which resulted in a 9-0 victory for the Belgians actually, even though Axel Witsel got sent off in the 40th minute. Eden Hazard actually started the game, which, I wasn't all too happy about when I saw it. On the other hand, I was like, well, playing Gibraltar is maybe not so much different than playing the under-23s of Everton, so I was alright with it, I suppose. And he actually managed to assist the goal with a nice cross and score another one himself. It was just an easy tap-in, but still, he scored. And he was then later subbed off in the 77th minute. Thibaut Courtois obviously played the full game as well, while Batshuayi remained on the bench. The second game was against Greece, away from home, and ended up with a 2-0 win for the Belgian boys again, which secured them their spot in the upcoming World Cup. Thibaut Courtois again played the whole game, made an incredible save when the score was still 0-0 as well. Eden Hazard actually didn't start that game, but came on in the 74th minute, and Michy Batshuayi again didn't feature. Belgium are in Group H of the European World Cup qualifiers. Belgium are now on 22 points after 8 from 10 games, well ahead of Bosnia-Herzegovina and Greece, fighting for their playoff spot really, and even Cyprus is still with a chance of, getting to the playoffs in that group. Coming to Spain, Alvaro Morata, Pedro and Cesar Azpilicueta were called up to the squad. Cesc Fabregas, for whatever reason, was not. Spain's first game was against Italy and was obviously a very interesting game, as under Antonio Conte, you might remember, Italy knocked Spain out of the Euros last year. This time around though, Spain very convincingly came out on top, winning the game 3-0. None of the Chelsea internationals actually started the game, as Spain didn't start an out-and-out striker, but officially played Isco from Real Madrid in that false 9/striker position, who, and I have to be honest, put in a masterclass of performance. What a player he is. Morata then came on in the 72nd minute and actually scored just 5 minutes later. Morata scored the third goal, and it was a fairly easy tap-in, to be fair, after a cross from Sergio Ramos. The second game was against Liechtenstein, which obviously a very different kind of game to, playing Liechtenstein and Italy, very different. Both Morata and Pedro started the game. Officially, Pedro actually started at right back, but he actually played more of a very attacking wing-back, as Liechtenstein didn't exactly pose the biggest attacking threat. Morata actually scored 2 goals, which is, very good. Can't stop scoring at the moment, which is great. 2 rather easy goals, to be fair. One with his head, one just, outside the 6-yard box. A lot of space for him on both goals. Assisted one for Isco as well, and kind of assisted another one when he headed the ball against the bar. Then the ball fell from the bar against the keeper's heels, and then it fell to Iago Aspas, who then just put it into basically an empty net. Pedro also got kind of an assist as a shot from outside the box got saved, fell to Aspas again, who ended up scoring. Azpilicueta didn't feature in either of the games, which is quite sad, but that's what it is. Coming to Italy, new Chelsea signing, Davide Zappacosta wasn't in the squad for Italy's game against Spain, which obviously just talked about. Italy lost 3-0. Not sure whether that was because of him being busy moving to Chelsea, but he was called up for Italy's second game against Israel. So he has only played 4 games for Italy up until this week. So I'm not quite sure whether that was just because Bonucci got sent off against Spain, I think, or was suspended with too many yellow cards. So I think they called up Zappacosta, basically just to have enough men in the squad, basically. Zappacosta got subbed on in the 49th minute. He didn't start the game and actually had a very good game after coming on. Italy ended up winning the game by 1-0, like I said, against Israel, through a goal by Ciro Immobile. Spain sit on top of that group, 3 points ahead of Italy in second, with those two fighting it out for who gets direct qualification. And who has to go through the playoffs, as Albania, who are in third, are 6 points behind Italy, but the goal difference is only +1 compared to Italy's +12. So even if Italy would lose both games and Albania would win both, it's rather unlikely that they will catch up that goal difference. Coming to Brazil, Willian was the only Chelsea player that was called up. David Luiz wasn't for whatever reason. That is, Brazil played the first game at home against Ecuador and ended up winning the game 2-0. Willian was only subbed on in the 84th minute, with the score already being at 2-0. The second game then was against Colombia, which ended 1-0. Willian played the whole game and actually scored Brazil's only goal just before half-time, and it was a stunning goal as well, taking the shot on the volley outside the box and put it into the top corner with absolutely no chance of saving it for the keeper. Former Chelsea player Radamel Falcao actually scored the 1-0 in that game in the 56th minute. Brazil, like Belgium, have already secured their place in the World Cup now, running away from everyone else in the table from, that group, being 10 points clear of Uruguay, who are in second with only 2 games left to play. The rest of the South American qualifier is actually incredibly interesting. As second, Uruguay is only 8 points ahead of 8th place Ecuador in that 10-team group. And the first 4 go through directly, and the 5th one has to go through a playoff against, I think, a team from the North American qualifiers. I'm not quite sure on that. Little side fact, actually. Argentina actually sit in 5th, which is only, like I said, the playoff spot, drawing both to Uruguay and Venezuela this week, who are bottom of the group. So Argentina not doing so well. Really hope I don't have to watch a World Cup without Messi, because it's just incredible. Coming to England, Gary Cahill was the only Chelsea player called up into the squad. Danny Drinkwater wasn't part of the England team this week. Gary Cahill played the whole 90 minutes in both games as England first beat Malta 4-0 away from home and then beat Slovakia 2-1 at Wembley after going 1-0 down very early on in that game. England now sit top of that group, 5 points ahead of Slovakia and 6 ahead of both Slovenia and Scotland. So even Scotland still with a chance to get to the World Cup if they manage to qualify second and get to the playoffs. Coming to France, N'Golo Kante was the only Chelsea player called up there. Timu Bakayoko wasn't in the squad. Obviously, Kurt Zouma was in the squad as well, but he's not really a Chelsea player at the moment, being out on loan at Stoke. N'Golo Kante, like Gary Cahill for England, played the full 90 minutes in both games. The first one being a very convincing 4-0 home victory over the Netherlands. France's second game actually brought up a massive surprise as they were held to a 0-0 draw away at Luxembourg, which, massive surprise that. France sit on top of their group, just 1 point ahead of Sweden and 4 ahead of the Netherlands, who are in third. Coming to Germany, Germany as expected won both of their games this week. The first one being a 2-0 away win over the Czech Republic, which actually needed the 88th minute winner by centre-back Mats Hummels from Bayern Munich, obviously, as Antonio Rudiger was subbed on in the 61st minute. The second game and the second win was a lot more convincing as the Germans beat Norway 6-0 in Germany as Rudiger played the whole game. Germany have won all of their 8 qualifying games so far, which is, fair play, but are yet to secure their spot in the World Cup as Northern Ireland are basically having the times of their life. Only 5 points behind Germany, winning all but 2 games, drawing 1 and losing 1, obviously losing to Germany. Coming to Nigeria, and obviously the only Nigerian in our, in the Chelsea team is Victor Moses. Ola Aina actually plays for Nigeria as well, but he's obviously out on loan at Hull City, but he was in the squad as well. Nigeria's first game was against Cameroon at home, which they ended up winning by 4-0. Victor Moses not only started the game, but scored the 3rd goal in the 55th minute after the Lord John Obi Mikel scored the 2nd goal in that game. Victor Moses was then substituted in the 82nd minute before their second game, which funnily enough was against Cameroon again. This time away from home. Very weird scheduling they have down there. But oh well. After beating them, after beating Cameroon 4-0 only a few days before, it was a bit of a surprise that the game ended 1-1 this time, with Victor Moses playing the whole game this time, although not scoring, picking up the Man of the Match award. Nigeria sit top of their group, 3 points out of Zambia, with 2 games to play and with only 1 team out of all 5 groups going to the World Cup. Coming to the last team that had the Chelsea player involved with was Denmark with Andreas Christensen. Andreas Christensen didn't feature in either of Denmark's game, sadly, as they quite surprisingly beat Poland 4-0 at home and Armenia, not so surprising, 4-1 away. Denmark now sits second in that group, 3 points behind Poland, but level on points and goals scored and goals conceded with Montenegro with, like the other teams, 2 games left to play. So overall, it was a very successful international break for the Chelsea boys, as none of them lost, with Zappacosta not being involved in Italy's 3-0 defeat to Spain. The only real bad result was France drawing 0-0 away at Luxembourg. I don't like the international break, especially when Austria do as badly as we did this week, losing 1-0 away to Wales and drawing at home to Georgia. Not great, but at least none of our Chelsea players got injured, which is obviously, could have been a lot worse. And, what's great as well is that Eden Hazard is basically officially back now. Played 74 minutes in the game against Gibraltar, came on for the last 20 or so minutes against Greece. So he's definitely back, I would say. And, he scored, he assisted. I didn't see the full game against Greece. So I didn't see how he did in that when he came on. But, it certainly looks like he will be in the squad against Leicester on the weekend. I very much doubt that he'll start the game, but at least he'll be in the squad and will be back because, he's just an incredible player and we need him in the squad. But yeah, that's really it for me. Leave me all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know how your respective national teams did. Whereas, interested in where you're from and how your teams are doing. Also, let me know if you have any thoughts on, how all of our international players did this week. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Massively do appreciate that. Check out my social media links you can see somewhere over here. Laos1507 on Instagram and Twitter. I'd massively appreciate it if you follow me there as well. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. And I'll see you next time.